Hello, welcome to the When I Have Spare Time podcast. My name is Frank, and I'll be sitting here talking to you for a few minutes. I'm wearing several layers of clothing because it's cold. And yeah, you know there is heat available in this house. I'm just not using it. So is anyone following? I mean, if you watch YouTube, you can't help but notice it. But the Jack Murphy fiasco. I don't know what to say except it's hilarious. As you know, he's that he's the alpha male guy who teaches men how to be men for like a lot of money. He like has this program where he charges like $100 a month, or like $400 for a year, or $4,000 for a lifetime membership to basically a chat group. And he's on the Tim Pool show a lot. Anyway, so he wrote an article about being a cuck, and that's not very alpha male. And he got called out about it on a podcast that Sydney Watson, or you don't know her, just a hot chick, has a podcast, and he got called out about it on the podcast, and he cursed out the female host and stormed off basically. And that caused some problems for him because if you're teaching other men how to be this alpha dude and get other chicks, and you have a freak out over something that you did, it kind of makes you look bad. And so anyway, so he's been getting called a cuck for a couple of weeks, or like a week, whatever, because well, he is one. He wrote an article about it, and then we find out that he used to do porn on ChatterBait, and he would sit on dildos. And this was 2 years ago. He was doing this. So basically, his whole online persona, the way he makes money, is by being this alpha male and teaching men how to be alpha males and how to get women. But in the past week and a half, it's come out that he's a cuck, and he's done porn where he shoves stuff up his ass. So, and I said this about 2 hours ago when I was just in a chat room where people were making fun of him on a live stream. I bet you this guy's gonna this guy's gonna kill himself. I just it's too brutal what Jack Murphy's going through. Okay, his whole online persona, because that's the way he makes money, is being this, you know, basically like men are the best, women are here to serve men, and he gets laid, and whatever. And everything he's been preaching, it's been proven he's the complete opposite. And I've seen at least 40 YouTube videos from like prominent YouTubers, that have a following, just ragging on this guy. And then it's, spread on the Twitter and Instagram too. And then and now that you have the his sex videos on ChatterBait, and these aren't leaked videos because this is public videos. It's not like someone broke into his house and like stole like a VHS or something like that. Everything about him is just ruined. So I think Jack Murphy is going to. I look like an idiot, I know. I think Jack Murphy's going to disappear from the internet for sure. I also think he'll probably uh, like whatever go into like a deep depression. Think about his kids. His kids are probably embarrassed. Like I bet you his kids like never want to talk to him again. Like I just picture everything wrong that could happen in this guy's life is happening right now. And it's all because instead of like owning what he did, like because like when he's confronted with all these things that he's done, he freaks out, he gets emotional like a woman, because an emotional response is a female response. So once again, like he's not practicing what he's preaching. Okay, so he's a cuck beta male. Apparently, um, likes to store stuff in his ass. Um, which to each his own. It's okay to do what you do, Jack. The only problem is he's preaching. It's the complete opposite of what he's preaching. But when you're confronted with stuff like this, it's better to just like if Jack would have just been like when like he was confronted the first time about the Cuck article on like Sydney Watson's show, if he would have just said, "Yeah, I wrote that," that was like 4 years ago. Like I'm not into that anymore. Instead, he freaked out, cursed her out, and stormed off. And so, because he did that, it just brought attention to it. And then they made everyone else who doesn't like him now do all this research and try to find more dirt on him. Hence, now you have his chatterbait porn coming out. So if he would have just handled it differently, he'd be fine. But I don't know. I don't know. But when you're an internet personality, or I don't know how he describes himself, but to me, he's just an internet personality. He should have just come out when he first started all this crap and just been like full disclosure. Like how many times have I gone into detail about like getting golden showers from a Korean escort back when I had a girlfriend, and like I would like help her keep her balance so she wouldn't fall over. you know I'm proud of what I did. So it's not like anyone's gonna you know whatever, like confront me like, hey, didn't you? I'm like, yeah, I talked about that on my podcast about like 30 times. Anyway, but in all seriousness, if you're gonna sell a I guess a persona, the worst thing to do is to sell one that is the complete opposite of what you are. Now, Jack Murphy, which this is a good thing this is happening to Jack Murphy, because this is a lesson for everyone. You know, that you just got to be yourself, because the truth is going to come out. So like, if you're, and remember, he's making a living off of this too, though. See, that's why it's so bad. Like he has like hundreds of thousands of young men follow him and listen to every word he says about how to be a man and pay him money to quote unquote be a man. I don't understand these people who have to pay other people to be a better man. I mean, I'm sure there's a female version out there too, where like there's this woman like, if you want to be a better woman, give me whatever $1,000 a month, and I will show you the way. Blah blah blah. So it's like you have to, I don't know. He's just a perfect example of how being fake, it backfires. And it's really easy. It's a lot easier to just be yourself, because you don't have to memorize the lie. Like Jack Murphy. I mean, now that I guess now that the curtains have been pulled open, like you really can see that, like, oh yeah, this is all an act. Like everything, just from the way he dresses to like the big giant beard he has, to just everything, like the way he talks, like everything just seems fake now, because it probably is fake. So he's become a horrible example. So in a way, Jack Murphy is helping out people now because he's showing you what happens if you're, if you really are a beta cuck liar. So I guess he has helped out a lot of men. Now he has. So, but like I'm gonna predict that that he's gonna Epstein himself because I just can't picture a guy whose whole persona has literally been taken away in less than a week. He was this alpha male. In less than a week, he went from an alpha male to a guy who does sex videos on ChatterBait, stuffing shit up his ass. That is the complete. He he pulled a 180 in less than a week, and then every 5 minutes, not every 5 minutes, I'm exaggerating, but every 5 minutes there's like a new YouTube video of someone making fun of him. I've already seen 2 live streams of people making fun of him. It's over. Like Jack Murphy's career is over, which doesn't matter, but you know, I just think it's hilarious. And because I'm not a good person, so I love the fact that he's going through this horrible time. I mean, if you're watching this, look up Jack Murphy, and it'll everything will come out. I mean, I don't have to like over explain it, and I don't have to post links. If you just type in Jack Murphy, like the Cuck article will come out. Like he's written a couple articles that are questionable, where he talk, but he really enjoys watching his woman be plowed through by other people, which is just really weird to me. But once again, like to each his own. Like not to kink shame anyone, but if your whole persona is being this alpha dude, the most beta thing you can ever do is watch your wife being run through by a bunch of people that she met off Tinder. It doesn't make any sense. And I feel bad for Jack's kids though. Like what are his kids going through right now? I mean, like it's bad enough being the kid in high school who like whatever. I don't really remember being made fun of in high school because I was a person making fun of people actually. But anyway, I'm just, I was the bully in high school. Anyway, I just oh my god, this one time in high school. This is an example of me being a bully in high school. So I used to ditch a lot of class, and so when I would ditch, I would go to the tennis courts because that's where all the Asian chicks hang out. Yes, I've liked Asian chicks since I was like in kindergarten. I don't know, just Asian chicks are just more attractive than other chicks. But anyway, so I would go to the tennis courts because all the well, it's mostly Korean girls were on the tennis team. There's a couple of Japanese girls. So, but anyway, it's mostly Korean girls on the I call it the Japanese team on a tennis team. And so I would just go down to the tennis courts and just sit and watch them play, because the easiest way to be peeping Tom is to be peeping Tom in the open. Don't hide your thing, man. Just say, hey, I'm just gonna watch you. Hopefully your skirt flies up, and then I would sit down too, so like I could be at a lower angle to see up their skirts. This is all true. And I would tell them what I was doing. And so, like, usually when you're honest, people just think it's funny and they're like, oh, you're not really doing that. But anyway, so, I remember like Holly Kim was on the tennis team, and like, I don't know, she had a good body. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So there's this redheaded kid named Adrian who was like huddled in the corner of the tennis court, and I didn't know who he was. I think he was like a 10th grader, and I was a senior. And I'm like, hey kid, like, what are you doing? And he's like, and he's all huddled in the corner, and he looks up, and he's like, nothing. And then like a tennis ball just comes out of nowhere and just like hits him. And I look over, and there's this guy. His name is Ganji. I think he's like a junior. And apparently he's been just whacking tennis balls at this kid, and the kid was too scared to move, and so he's just sitting in the corner as he just keeps whacking him with like serves. And so Ganji does it again, and I guess it's good target practice. I'm standing right next to the kid, and the kid's like like in the corner, and he does a serve and just it hits the kid direct hit. I'm like, hey, I guess he's good at it. But anyway, so I told him like, if you hit that kid again, like I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And he starts laughing, and so he gets another serve and hits the kid with the tennis ball. And but the thing is, there's a bunch of people there on the tennis courts because like the tennis team is practicing, and so because I know a lot of the girls there, I'm like, yo, I forgot which one. It wasn't Holly, but I'm like, yo, like give me a tennis racket. And so like I grab a tennis racket from I, f- I forgot which girl. I just know it wasn't Holly, but like when one of the girls gives me their tennis racket, and I walk over to Genji, and like I used to play tennis actually, and so like I grab a tennis ball, and like he doesn't think he doesn't think I'm gonna do anything, so I grab a tennis ball, and like I'm like whatever like 5 feet like away from him, and I throw up a serve, and I like hit him with it, and then he's like hey, and then I guess he's shocked I did it, and then like I take the tennis racket and I beat the shit out of him with the tennis racket. I just hit him over the head with it, and he's like whoa, and then like he falls down, and then I hit him about like 15 times with the tennis racket, and then I kick him a couple of times, and then I just like drop the tennis racket, and I'm like if you ever touch that kid again, I'll fucking kill you. And then I walk over to the kid. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Frank." He's like, "Hey." I mean, well, he didn't say "Hey." I was like, "Hey, I'm Frank." He looked up. This little guy was like still like his hands were all it's like ah. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Frank." He's like, "I'm Adrian." I shook his hand. I'm like, that guy's never gonna bother you again." And then like I became friends with Adrian. But anyway, so yeah, like I'm not a nice person, and the only reason why I beat Ganji up with the tennis racket is because I didn't like him. It was I used the kid being bullied as an excuse, but I should have been arrested for assault. Like I literally hit him. I literally beat him up with the tennis racket. I hit him at least yeah, at least 15 times. Just like whacking him on the head, and like so he's on the ground curled up, and I literally got off on it because I'm a horrible person. Anyway, this was not supposed to end like this. Anyway, another video of me talking too much. I'll talk to you later, guys. Peace. Yeah, I'm wearing gloves, so I can't. It's so cold.